Hello, welcome to chapter number 3. In this chapter, we are going to talk about algorithmic state machine design. So let's have a bird's eye view of this course. We have already discussed chapter number 2, which was about fundamental of Verilog HDL. We saw how to handle different combinational and sequential plot using basic Verilog HDL. But this is not enough to handle more complex digital design. In order to handle more complex designs, you need a proper and systematic procedure, which we are going to cover in this lecture, which is algorithmic state machine design. So this is the agenda of the lecture today. We are going to cover what is ASMD and how to make your design using basic ASMD techniques. We'll learn a couple of examples, that is traffic light controller and UART transmitter. In summary, we have learned basic building block using Verilog HDL, and here we are going to use them to make more complex digital design. So let's take an example to understand what is ASMD. So if you think about small company that can operate with less people, and a single secretary can handle your phone calls, it can make you a coffee, it can take dictations, it can post your mails, and so on. But this is not going to work with a larger company. In the larger company, you need proper hierarchy. You need people who are called management, which can make decisions, and you need people which are called department, which are going to act as a workforce. So the management is going to make decisions, and that decisions are passed from the management to the department, where they are executed. Whatever is done in the department by the workforce is reported back to the management via the workforce or progress. Why can't we use the same technique in digital design? The answer is we can, and using such hierarchy in digital design is called ASMD. So in ASMD, we focus on dividing a digital design into two components. The first component is going to decide what is going to be the next logic, what is the sequence of operations, and this is analogous to the management block in the organization. So the management block of the digital design is going to be control unit, which is going to generate different control signals and decides how the operations are going to be performed. The second component is called data path, which is going to execute the actual logic. So it is analogous to the department in the company example. So here you could see the data path receives the control signals from the control unit, and it is going to perform the required task. So far we have learned that what is a ASMD based digital design. Now let's see how we can handle a digital design using ASMD techniques. So this slide shows 4 essential steps that how to approach a digital design using ASMD technique. In the first step, you do a design specification. Essentially, you draw a simple box representing your design with input and output clearly indicated. So here you could see that we have a box with the design name in the center and inputs and outputs clearly indicated in terms of their directions and width. As a second step, we do the design partitioning. We take the simple box and we divide it into multiple boxes called control unit and data path. So we take this box with the design name and IOs in it, and we divide it into 2 further blocks, that is control unit and data path. Once we are done with this type of partitioning, we go into the next step, which is designing the data path. So we take one box, that is the data path box, and we design it. Once we design it, we know that what are going to be the control signals and the status signals. So if you see this partitioning, that is control unit and data path, you could see that the control signals are analogous to the orders passed by the management to the department in the organization example, while the status signals are equivalent to the feedback or the report given by the department to the management. So once we draw this data path, we could easily figure out control signals and status signals, and in the last step, we could obviously approach the control unit or the ASMD in itself. Now let's take a simple example of a traffic light controller to learn these basic principles. So the example is following. We have 4 boulevards, one in each direction, and each boulevard has green and red signals. Each signal opens for 5 seconds and it closes for 15 seconds. The signal opened from west to north in a clockwise direction. That is, first we open the west signal while all 3 others are closed. Then the next one is not to be opened, east, south, and backward to the west in a clockwise direction. Having explained the basic scenario, let's follow these 4 steps to handle this traffic light controller using ASMD technique. So if you could recall, the first step was design specification. That was drawing a box with the design name on it, inputs and outputs clearly indicated. So in this case, we could easily figure out that there are 4 outputs, each for one boulevard, and each output is 2-bit indicating green and red. So if you see the design specification for traffic light controller, it has named traffic light controller in the center, 4 outputs, each for one boulevard, a 2-bit output indicating red and green. So if we have 1 0, that means red, and if we have 0 1, that means green. Then we have 2 inputs, that is clock and reset. So we have essentially specified our design with a box indicating traffic light controller and all the IOs with the direction and sizes. Once done, the next step was design partitioning. That is to divide this traffic light controller into multiple boxes. So the basic principle in design partitioning is to break the major design into 2 blocks, that is control unit and data path. So first we take this main block, the design block, and we break it into control unit and data path. So in this case, we divide it into control unit traffic light controller and data path traffic light controller. As the next step, we apply all the inputs to the control unit and we take all the outputs from the data path. So you could see that we are applying all the inputs to the control unit while we are taking all the outputs from the data path. In the traffic light controller example, we have applied both the input, that is traffic light controller reset, and the clock on the control unit. So you could see that we have applied these 2 inputs to the control unit and we have taken all the outputs from the data path. However, there are some exceptions. In some cases, we could take some exceptional outputs from the control unit and we could apply some inputs directly to the data path. For example, in this case, the clock is directly applied to the data path. However, there can be more complex input directly applied to the data path. So if you remember, after the design partitioning is done, the next step was to think about the data path. Now this is one of the most difficult steps. We have to figure out that what should be the circuit inside this box, which is data path. And if you could recall, once we do this, we could easily figure out control signals and status signal, which can be backtracked to design the control unit. So let's see how we could figure out what's inside the data path. In order to think about data path design, we have to follow these 4 steps. As a first step, we have to brainstorm all the functionality of the design. For example, in the case of traffic light controller, we need to think what functionality this data path has to perform. So if you could just think for a second, you could easily notice that the data path has to count for 5 seconds. So this is the first functionality we need from the data path. As the second functionality, it needs to select between green and red signal for each of the output. So first thing, we could brainstorm all the functionality. And the best way is to read the main problem description that is quite helpful in figuring out the main functionality. For example, in this case, you could read this that each signal is open for 5 seconds and signals are open from west to north. So we could easily figure out that we need a functionality of counting for 5 seconds and we need to do some selection between green and red signal. As a second step, we need to enlist all the combinational and sequential components which can perform this functionality. For example, in our case, this functionality can be performed by a counter and a multiplexer, because multiplexer can select multiple things while the counter can count from some value to another value. Once we are done with figuring out the combinational and sequential components, the next step should be to draw the block diagram of point 2. So we need to draw a block diagram of multiplexers and counter we need for this design. And finally, we stitch all the components together and form a unified data path design, which could give us an idea about the control and the status signal of the data path. So let's see what are typical components which would be required by different digital design. So if the functionality is to select between multiple sources, single source out of multiple sources, or to resolve conflicts, we could use multiplexer or demultiplexer. If the functionality is adding or subtracting or performing some arithmetic operation, we need adder and its variance. If the functionality is comparing multiple things and giving a unified result, the component could be comparator. If the functionality could be converting between formats, the thing which we could need is decoder and encoder. We could also use some sequential components. For example, for counting and storing and shifting, we could need counters and shift registers respectively. You could easily spot that all of these combinational and sequential circuits are same as we discussed in chapter number 2. However, they're not going to exactly appear in the same basic form which you saw in chapter 2. They can be a little modified, and you could use the same techniques of coding to write the code for this modified form. So let's take the traffic light controller perspective and let's see how we could apply these 4 techniques. The first was to brainstorm all functionality. So the functionality in this case would be selecting between red and green signal and counting for 5 seconds. The second step was to enlist combinational and sequential components which can perform these jobs. For example, counting a time of 5 seconds could be done from 3-bit counter, which can count from 0 to 5, and the job of selection could be done by the multiplexer, which could select between green and red. The third step was to draw block diagrams. Here you could see that in case of multiplexer, we are receiving red and green input for each traffic signal, and the control signal is selecting between red and green, and one of the red and green would go to the output. Similarly, in case of counter, we are applying the clock, it counts for 5, and once the 5 is completed, it sends back a flag. Once this step number 3 is complete, we need to stitch all of them together. So you could see this unified data path where there are 4 multiplexer, 1 for each direction, and we apply 1 or 2, which is indicating red and green, and then there are these selections which is going to select between red and green and is going to assert one of the output. And finally there is counter sitting in this corner which is counting from 0 to 5 and giving back the flag. So we'll continue from this point on in the second part of this lecture, and we'll see how this stitch data path could be used to make the control unit.